Okay guys, hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm grabbing my torch and we're gonna go for a little walk, but I need to move the torch over here so I'm not lighting it right over top of the leaves. You can't really see the torch, but you'll be able to see it in just a minute. I'll light the torch on camera so you guys can see it. Okay, I'll get this set up. Okay, let me get the camera spun. Okay, we're now at the front camera. I'm gonna get the torch lit. Let me just get this in my pocket. Let me get the torch lit. Okay, got us a nice torch. So we're good to go. So that you guys, so we actually have something that's worth seeing this time. I've got my torch going. We're gonna go for a walk. So let me swap this, spin it this way so it looks like this way. There we go. So you guys can see that I actually have a torch. So these are torches. This one is an interesting design. I've not made one before with with this metal like this, but it's an old handle. So we'll see. We'll see how nice this torch actually works. So anyway, so tonight we're going to talk about the Orion. So, plus you guys get to see the fun torch. Because I really do enjoy I enjoy fire a lot. So, something really nice about flames and fire, especially in fall evenings. So, I have to actually put though, when we go through, actually I can go over the gate with having my torch in my hand. And it's burning really good now. So try not to get it up too high so I don't burn anything crazy. So tonight on story time, we're going to talk about Orion and the story of Orion. If you guys are not familiar with the story of Orion, the story of Orion is very interesting. It's that constellation of the 3 stars that most people can identify Orion's belt. But we're going to give you the story of how the belt got up there and some of the folklore behind the story. So if you don't know the background of Orion the hunter, he is up there. He is the 3 stars that you see in the sky. And his 2 hunting dogs are up there with him, Cirrus and Procel. So Cirrus is the larger dog, and Procel is the smaller dog. And he used those for when he would go hunting. And so his hunting dogs are up there. And he is always in a constant battle with the great scorpion. And he is hunting the bears, Ursa Minor and Ursa Major. And he is always trying to seek the approval of the 7 sisters. And he is being stopped on his journey by Taurus the bull. So let's start off with the birth of Orion. So Orion was born, and those stories are very, very intriguing. So we're gonna go with my favorite of the lores of how Orion was born. So Orion was born in the woods, and he was born in the woods. And this is gonna sound really interesting, but he was born in the woods on a spot where a dead deer had fallen, and the gods regularly urinated on that spot with the idea that they were going to try to spawn a great stag to hunt. But instead, Orion sprung out of the ground, almost as if you grew a man as a tree. And being that there was lots of god DNA, Orion was half man, half giant, and the greatest hunter this land has ever seen. He boasted at one time to Gaia that he was going to kill one of every creature that walked this planet. That was actually the beginning of Orion's downfall. For Gaia was the mother of all living things on this planet. She was not happy to hear that he wanted to kill one of everything. She had no problem with him wanting to kill deer and small game and wolves and things to protect, things to eat, but didn't like the cavalierness that he had to just kill everything. Now, Orion, there's lots of great tales of all the great things he hunted, all the great people he protected, all the wonderful things he did. But the story I think we're going to talk about tonight is how he got up into the stars. And so how that happened is Orion fell in love with Apollo's sister, Artemis. So Artemis was also a great hunter. Artemis and Apollo were the children of Gaia. And being that they were true gods, true deities, Apollo did not like the fact that Orion was just a mere giant. Didn't like the fact that his sister was falling in love with just a mere giant. And Artemis has lots of interesting stories of how she refused to find a future love, and how she promised herself just to the woods and to her act of hunting. Those are for future stories. So Artemis and Orion met on a fateful day when they were both hunting a great stag. They teamed up, took down this great stag, and realized their mutual love together of hunting. So they spent a human lifetime together going through and hunting some of the most dangerous great beasts that lived here on the planet. So we'll say 75, 100 years, whatever you call a human life. And Apollo was jealous, and Gaia was whispering in their ears, because Gaia was afraid that with Orion's help, they would be able to convince Artemis to also want to also be the great hunter, and to hunt all of the animals in the woods and in the forest So Orion went for a great swim and a bathe under this beautiful waterfall. And Apollo challenged Artemis to a archery game. And so they would pick objects and shoot their arrows and see how accurate they were. So they shot through the hearts of trees. That's why sometimes you will see holes in trees, because that was part of the challenge that Apollo and Artemis played together. You'll see holes in rocks of when they would shoot their great arrows through the rocks. And Apollo came up to the river where he knew Orion was bathing. And all you could see out of the top of the water was Orion's head, or what looked like Orion's head. But because of the distance that they were traveling and the distance that they were at, Artemis did not know that that was a human or her lover. And so Apollo challenged her to strike that object with her arrow. And Artemis laughed and says, "That is too easy, brother. That is too easy." And so she pulled back her bow and she shot her bow down, and it pierced the back of Orion's head. And as they went down to see how well her shot came off, she realized that she had slain her lover. Heartbroken, angry, upset, she first turns to Zeus, the god of gods, and he laughed at her, saying that she was tricked, and he was nothing but a mere giant. So she seeked out other gods. And while she found one of the gods who promised to help, he said the best he can do is make Orion available to her forever. And Artemis, thinking that this was a great reward, she said, yes, please. I want to be with Orion forever. I want to be able to gaze upon him. And the god looked at Artemis and says, "Oh, I will make sure that you can gaze upon him." And so took the body of Orion, shattered him into 1,000,000 pieces, and threw him up into the stars, and created what we currently know as the constellation Orion. And looked to Artemis and says, "There you go, my dear. You can gaze upon him every day. And he is still up there hunting. Him and his dogs are up there hunting the great bears." And Artemis, knowing how the gods work and that she has been tricked, she accepts the fact that she can gaze up in the fall and see Orion. If you start off in the fall like today, I wish I could show you the stars, Orion is laying on his back, ready for the winter to come so he can get up and tromp through the forest and hunt the great bears. But Gaia, Artemis's mother, Apollo's mother, knowing that there is always the chance that Orion and that future gods could come and pull Orion back to Earth, released a large scorpion into the sky, a scorpion named Scorpio. And this great scorpion is always hunting. That is why in the fall, if you look east, where the sun rises, you will see Orion. And if you look to the west where the sun is set, you will see the great scorpion. They are locked in an eternal dance so that Orion may never come back to Earth, because knows that if he does, the scorpion will also return. Now, since Orion is trapped up into the sky, he has since fallen in favor of the Seven Sisters. And so if you take Orion's belt and you go from Orion's belt and you draw straight up, you will see the Seven Sisters. So the interesting thing about the Seven Sisters is it is an eye test. If you can see all 7 sisters, then you have perfect vision. If you cannot, then that means one of the sisters has messed with your eyesight. And every time you lose a sister to your eyesight, you're getting closer and closer to being blind. The 7 sisters are tricksters. The other thing that the 7 sisters have is the 7 sisters have Taurus the bull. The 7 sisters sit on the back of Taurus the bull to keep Orion at bay. So if you sit and you stare at Orion, and right in front of Orion, you go from the belt and you go to the 7 sisters, straight to the 7 sisters, and you go just a little in front of the 7 sisters, forward and back, you will see a few great stars. And those great stars are the shoulder, the head, and the horn of the bull of Taurus. And Taurus is there to hold back Orion, to keep him from getting to the trickster sisters, to keep him from finding a way to return to Earth, to get back to Artemis. But don't fret that much for Orion, because he is up there enjoying eternity, hunting the great bears. One day he does plan, with his dogs, Sirius and Procel, does one day hope to reach the bears, hunt and slay them both. So if you are unfamiliar with what the bears are, it's the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper. So I hope you guys enjoyed this evening's storytelling. I tried to make it a little bit more exciting with fire and adding something else to the story. If there's stories out there that you guys would like to hear, if there's particular things, if you'd like to hear more about fairy stories, or you'd like to hear more of folklore, Greek mythology, stories of the stars, just let me know. And I will reach into my story repertoire and see what I know. I do have to climb over this fence, and I do need to do this one-handedness. And I can't set the torch on the ground because the torch is on fire. So it's burning really, really well now. This is I'm very happy with this torch I made. If you guys are wondering, since we're waiting before I go over the fence, I'll show you guys the torch. So here's my torch, if you guys are wondering how I made the torch. So the torch is like a handle of it's a metal handle of an old shovel. And what I have wrapped around the torch is old rags that I dipped in a mix of gasoline and oil. And then those rags that are dipped in a mix of gasoline and oil are also wrapped with some metal wire. So we have your nice, good witch-burning torch. So there's just something really nice about having a real torch. Especially walking, when we did the story last week, the first story I did, the story last week, it wasn't quite as exciting with just the flashlight. So I thought I'd step up my game a little bit. And since I do enjoy building torches, I thought this would be a good addition to the mix. So again, in the future, I am more than happy to come up with new stories. I'm going to try to make this even throughout the winter when there's snow on the ground and things of that sort. I plan on making this a weekly show. It'll be short for me, 30 minutes to an hour, just enough to go for a walk. If you guys are wondering, I walked up the road and I walked back down the backside of the hill. So the one thing I like about this torch is I made this one really well. So I really got the blue flames to do well. I was really trying to focus on the blue flames. Oh, kangaroo, that would be fun. I should next spring and summer I should do story time in the woods. That would be fun. Is I get together and not just during the evening, but during the day, tell some stories. Tell some stories that I know, or read some books. Man, if I ever get a camera that we can see the stars, I would love to show you the stars, because I can go just on the other side of the mountain where I can pretty much get rid of most of the light pollution. And the stars are absolutely amazing once we get rid of most of the light pollution. Okay, let me get over this fence. I love fire. Fire's such a great thing. It's so interesting just to stare at it and just see how much of a live it is. It's one of the more interesting of the elements that we play with, so it's funny, this one must need a little bit more fuel because it is cutting back on the fuel. It is not quite. It's slowly fading, and it's from when I first started to now, it's slowly fading. Still plenty of light for everything I need to see. And in reality, I can walk a pretty good amount of my yard with just darkness. One of the things that being someone that's never been afraid of the dark, and that has had a pretty good sense of things, like, you know, not saying that things aren't going to startle me in the dark, because that's actually going to happen. You know, that's really easy to happen. But I pride myself into trying to not be afraid of the dark and have a pretty good sense of the night and the dark. So I can taught in theater how to walk around in the dark and just sense things that you can't see. So it's just fun to just be able to rock around. The one downfall to this is it is ruining my night vision, but it's not so bad, because that's why I'm wearing the red glasses. It's not ruining it so bad that makes it not enjoyable. But you guys can see, like, the light's definitely fading. So, but yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed the Orion story. I've got many more. I used to do night interp. And so in college and in theater class and such like that, I would combine my knowledge of the different things together so that I could make walking at night interesting and fun, and teaching people that it's not really scary. In the modern time, it's silly that we live in modern time where so many people are afraid of the dark. Like, I sit here and I look, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 afraid of the dark lights. When in reality, darkness is one of the great strengths that we have, and can make everything easier if you just know how to embrace the darkness. Because if you get to yourself where you get good night vision, and then you can actually control the night. So, and plus with all of this in current technology, having all the lights doesn't really help you that much. So, anyways, guys, exclamation point Discord. If you guys want to join the Discord, we talk about farming and animals and lots of other great fun things. So if you guys are interested in doing any of those fun adventures, you guys are welcome to join the Discord. Other than that, Thursday nights, Sunday nights, I do shows, and when I feel up to it, we do Let's Feed the Chickens, and it's a great time. Thank you, Yam. I hope you are well, brother. I hope things are doing good for you. So, I hope you guys enjoyed my little story time. So, and I'll have to put my flame out in just a minute. But I want to thank you guys all for joining me, talking about Orion, learning about Orion. So, and all the good stuff. So, anyways, friends, I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. Again, every Thursday, every Sunday. Every Sunday we're doing a night hike with story time, and every Thursday we will do back to our typical show, and when I feel up to it, we will do the Let's Feed the Chicken show. And as the weather gets colder and I have more time to do more, we will have more and more things on tap. So, anyways, thank you guys all for being here tonight. Until tomorrow, it's the Baron, Doc, Justin, whatever you guys like to call me. Have yourself a wonderful rest of the day. Good night. Happy Daylight Savings Day. Adios.